It's an all-out war as the remaining fighters of Universe 7 battle against the ultimate quadruple merge, Anilaza. As hype as this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super was, I think maybe the coolest thing about it has to be the preview for the very next episode. Spoiler warning, in this week's episode, Universe 3 is officially defeated. I think this was pretty obvious. As cool as the quadruple merge Anilaza is, it was always going to be Universe 7 versus Universe 11. And at the very end of the episode, they immediately build up the hype. The preview for the next episode is going to blow people's minds. It's going to get people talking, and you get to see that all of Universe 7 is going to be battling against the three strongest warriors from Universe 11. And as hyped as I am to actually see Jiren, I cannot wait to see more of Dispo and Toppo as well. They definitely have to have something really unique about these guys. They've been holding back, so for them to be able to hold their own against 5 fighters is pretty freaking insane. And yes, I do say 5 because unfortunately, in this episode, Android 18 loses. She falls out of the ring, but she does so with a lot of gusto. In fact, she does it to actually save Android 17 in this episode, right as he's about to fall out of the ring. And Android 17 was all sorts of cool in this episode as well, so let's just talk about this one right here. So this episode is very simple. Basically, the 3 robots combined with Dr. Paparoni to become the massive Anilaza. Its name apparently is some sort of pun and an anagram of how you say lasagna in Japanese, just going with the general theme of the series with always naming characters after foods and all types of random objects. But what I really love about Anilaza is that he looks really intimidating and cool, and he kind of reminds me of like 3 different villains, to be perfectly honest. He reminds me a little bit of Janemba from the Dragon Ball Z movie, Fusion Reborn, because he actually has the ability to create these portals and punch through them, and he can like punch you from really far away, and his fist can come from like any direction. He also kind of reminds me of the OVA villain Hachiok from Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans in just terms of his overall form, but a lot of his color scheme definitely comes from Frieza as well, definitely utilizing a lot of whites and grays, but I do like the fact that he has these gems all over his body, which are green and red, and they're actually really important to his power. Not only do they sort of hold him together, but they allow him to basically sense where anyone is without even having to rely on actually sensing their energy, so it makes him a very powerful opponent. That and the fact that he is surprisingly fast and really powerful. He just really brings the heat against all of Universe 7 in this episode. And like I said, he has a lot of really unique attacks, like being able to shoot out a ki blast, which explodes into multiple directions and then explodes again. It's like a giant scatter missile of destruction. I love the scene where it's all like going towards Universe 11 and Jiren just blasts it and all this rubble starts to appear in his face, but it all just constantly keeps getting deflected by the shield that's around him. Man, they're doing a great job of building up Universe 11. But really, this whole episode is what you would expect from classic Dragon Ball, which is a lot of screaming, a lot of ki blasts, and lots of really cool punches. And they really did show that Anilaza was strong, especially because everybody had to utilize like the most powerful transformation, or at least power up to their strongest state, with Goku and Vegeta going into their blue forms, Gohan of course powering up all of the way, Frieza going gold, and Android 17 just doing all types of things that we've never seen him do in the series in this episode. Also, I gotta say, there are some moments in this episode that are just plain epic. I just cannot stand how cool it is in the most cheesy way. Like when all of the 5 remaining fighters actually get together and land in one spot and then start to transform, it's like something out of the Avengers. They have literally assembled as a team here, and seeing Frieza actually be a part of this group is still incredibly surreal. And I have to talk about the moment where it looked like Goku was actually about to be out of the ring, and then Frieza comes in and saves him. Basically, he kicks him in the back, which of course felt really great to Frieza, but it was just weird to have a moment and just to actually have that moment where you can say, Frieza saved Goku. It's strange, but I have to say it's really great, and I can't wait to see what Frieza's going to do against the power of Universe 11. The preview implies that he is going to get involved in the battle, and it looks like he's having a rough time. I'm not sure who he's fighting against. It could be with Dispo again, but I'd like to see what he's going to do against someone like Jiren. But yeah, this whole episode ends with a big ki blast standoff. Anilaza has grown these massive wings, which are basically just there as an aesthetic. I imagine the guy can probably fly already, but it makes him look even more demonic and crazy. And then he fires this massive ki blast at them, and that's when the Universe 7 fighters have to power up as much as they can and fire their signature ki blast at it, and they have like the big ki blast standoff, the classic things like we've seen in the series. And I'm glad that they broke the mold and they didn't just have them push the attack back into him. Android 17 decides to take some advice from 18 and just go completely all out. He just shoots right up into Anilaza's face and punches him right in the head, breaking the gem, which basically sends him flying out of the ring, and boom, that's it. Universe 3 is defeated. And it all ends with a big standoff between the remaining fighters of both Universe 7 and 11. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? This was a surprisingly hype episode. I mean, it didn't necessarily do anything that new, to be perfectly honest, but seeing the characters actually fight together was really satisfying. I loved seeing more of the teamwork element that I wish we could have gotten to see a little bit more of, especially because now things are probably going to get more chaotic, and now it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to lose next, and how they're going to make this entire arc go on for another couple of months, because it's supposed to end in March. I can't wait to see what sort of like matchups that we're actually going to get and how it's all going to go down. There could be some really shocking surprises for the rest of this arc right here, and it's pretty obvious that Universe 11 is just going to bring something really big down on Universe 7. Who could it be? Who's next? In the next episode, it looks like Vegeta is going to be going really crazy, so his head could very well be on the chopping block, but I'm more interested in still seeing what's going to happen to Frieza. I really want to know if Frieza's plan is somehow going to come to fruition, if it's going to mix things up at the end of this arc and give us something that a lot of people are not expecting to see. Maybe he's just going to be a one-off character who loses and goes straight back to where he belongs. I'm not really sure. But what I will say is, this episode right here certainly delivered on the teamwork element of Dragon Ball Super. Seeing all those characters power up and transform next to each other was very awesome. Really, I do love it. Universe 7 has assembled, and like I said, I thought that Anilaza was actually a pretty cool character in and of his own. He definitely looked like sort of a composite of many of the villains, like I said earlier in the review, but I did like all of his unique abilities, and the fact that he did give them all actually a hard time, and they had to work together to fight against them. That's the best thing about this episode. It looked pretty good, too, especially that Android 17 punch at the end. That was incredibly satisfying. But that's it. That's my thoughts on this episode. It was good, awesome, loud, epic Dragon Ball battling, the type of stuff that we love, and it was just entertaining as a whole. Not a perfect episode, might not even be remembered as one of the best episodes of the Tournament of Power, but for me, I got a lot of entertainment value, a lot of smiles, and a lot of laughs. Before I wrap up this review, let me also talk about one of the biggest surprises of this episode, and that's getting to learn that the God of Destruction of Universe 3 Moscow is not actually just a giant robot. He's actually a weird little horned red guy who is piloting a giant mech. That little hatch on his stomach actually opens up, and right as Universe 3 is about to be erased, he reveals himself to the viewers. He looks incredibly goofy, and I had no idea that's actually what Moscow was. I was convinced he was some sort of like living robot person, kind of like Vegeta from Universe 6. And no, he's just another weird-looking little God of Destruction, but I would have liked to have seen more, especially because we have a character in the series now who can ride a mech and he's a God of Destruction. More of that, please. I think that would be really fun to see him go in an all-out battle. That would just be great. But who knows? We might not get to see it because Universe 3 has officially been erased. Also, don't you think it's really funny and over-dramatic a little bit when every single time a universe loses, they do that close-up shot on the Grand Priest's face where he's like, "This universe will be erased." It's always really intimidating, and then they cut to the Zenos destroying. It seems like they reuse that every single time, and it always gets a laugh out of me. I never really take it all that seriously, to be perfectly honest. So let's wrap this one up, guys. This was a really good, satisfying episode. It wasn't perfect. There were a few moments that looked a little meh, but as far as entertainment value goes, whew, I like this one a lot right here. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about the episode. You can tell me in the comments section below. What did you think about the big battle between Anilaza and the Warriors of Universe 7? Are you disappointed that Android 18 had decided to sacrifice herself to save Android 17? And what do you hope to see in the big epic battle with Universe 11? Tell me all your thoughts, your theories, and what you want to see. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Dragon Ball Super reviews, as well as a ton of other anime reviews. And if you like the video, like it, share it with your friends. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.